In May 1886, a pharmacist named John Pemberton stirs a caramel-colored syrup in a brass kettle in his Atlanta backyard. He's 63 years old, addicted to morphine from a Civil War wound, and nearly bankrupt. The syrup he's creating will become the world's most recognized product. Within 100 years, this formula will be available in more than 200 countries. It will survive 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the collapse of communism, and the rise of health consciousness. This is not just a story about a beverage. It's a story about building a brand so powerful that it becomes inseparable from American culture itself, then conquering the entire planet one bottle at a time. John Pemberton never intended to create a global empire. He wanted to cure headaches. In 1886 Atlanta, patent medicines promised miracle cures. Pemberton, trained as a pharmacist, believed he could create something legitimate. He experimented with coca leaves from South America and cola nuts from Africa. Both contained stimulants. Cocaine was legal. Caffeine was popular. He mixed them with sugar, caramel, and secret flavoring oils. The result was Pemberton French wine coca. It sold modestly as a nerve tonic. Then Atlanta went dry. Prohibition arrived in 1886. Pemberton had to remove the alcohol. He reformulated, added carbonated water instead of wine, and renamed it Coca-Cola. The name came from his bookkeeper Frank Robinson, who thought 2C would look good in advertising. Robinson penned the now famous flowing script logo by hand. It remains virtually unchanged today. Pemberton sold the syrup to pharmacies. They mixed it with carbonated water at soda fountains. The first sale happened at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta. 9 servings sold the first year for 5 cents each. Pemberton spent $46 on advertising. He made $50 in revenue. This was not promising. Pemberton was dying. Stomach cancer consumed him. He needed money desperately. He began selling stakes in his formula to multiple investors. He sold pieces to at least 4 different people, creating ownership chaos. When Pemberton died in August 1888, nobody knew who actually owned Coca-Cola. Enter Asa Candler. He was another Atlanta pharmacist, younger, healthier, and far more ambitious than Pemberton. Candler understood something Pemberton didn't. The product wasn't medicine. It was pleasure. People drank Coca-Cola because it tasted good and made them feel energized. Marketing mattered more than medicinal claims. Between 1888 and 1891, Candler quietly bought up every stake in Coca-Cola he could find. He spent about $2,300 total. This would become the greatest bargain in business history. Candler understood distribution. He flooded pharmacies with free samples. He gave away coupons for free drinks. Thousands of people tried Coca-Cola without paying. Once they tasted it, they came back. Candler also pioneered branded merchandise. He distributed free calendars, clocks, urns, and serving trays, all featuring the Coca-Cola logo. Pharmacists received these items for free. They displayed them prominently. Suddenly Coca-Cola branding was everywhere. By 1895, Coca-Cola was sold in every U.S. state. Revenue hit $50,000. Candler built a new factory. He hired salesmen. He bought newspaper ads calling Coca-Cola the ideal brain tonic and the delicious, refreshing, exhilarating, invigorating drink. The company didn't just sell soda. They sold feeling. Then came the bottling revolution. Until 1899, Coca-Cola existed only at soda fountains. You had to visit a pharmacy to drink it. 2 lawyers from Chattanooga, Tennessee, named Benjamin Thomas and Joseph Whitehead, approached Candler with a radical idea. Let us bottle Coca-Cola. We'll handle production, distribution, and sales. You just provide the syrup. Candler thought bottling was a fad. He said yes anyway and gave them bottling rights for almost nothing. He kept rights to fountain sales only. This decision created the franchise model that built Coca-Cola empire. Thomas and Whitehead couldn't bottle Coca-Cola everywhere themselves. They sold territorial bottling rights to local entrepreneurs across America. Each bottler bought syrup from Candler, bottled it locally, and distributed it in their territory. By 1920, more than 1,000 bottling plants operated across the U.S. Candler sold syrup. Bottlers took all the risk and cost of production and distribution. This system let Coca-Cola expand explosively without massive capital investment. But problems emerged. Different bottlers used different bottles. Some bottles were ugly. Some broke easily. Customers couldn't recognize Coca-Cola on shelves. Worse, imitators flooded the market. Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coke, over 7,000 copycat brands appeared between 1900 and 1920. Coca-Cola sued hundreds of times. They won most cases but couldn't stop the flood of fakes. They needed a bottle so distinctive that customers could recognize it in the dark or shattered on the ground. In 1915, Candler challenged bottle manufacturers to design something unique. The Root Glass Company in Toyota, Indiana won. Their designer misunderstood the assignment. He thought Coca-Cola was made from cocoa beans, not coca leaves. He designed a bottle shaped like a cocoa pod, with vertical ridges and a bulging middle. The Contour bottle launched in 1916. It became one of the most recognized shapes in history. Even today, people identify Coca-Cola by bottle shape alone. World War I changed everything. When America entered the war in 1917, Coca-Cola followed soldiers overseas. The company lobbied to be classified as essential for troop morale. It worked. Coca-Cola received priority shipping. The military built bottling plants near the front lines in France. Soldiers drank Coca-Cola in trenches. They associated it with home, comfort, and American identity. When soldiers returned, they brought that association home. Coca-Cola was no longer just refreshment. It was patriotic. Sales exploded in the 1920s. Revenue grew from $20 million in 1920 to $40 million in 1929. But leadership changed. Asa Candler retired in 1916. He sold Coca-Cola to a group of investors led by Ernest Woodruff for $25 million. This was the largest financial transaction in the South history at that time. Woodruff stepped back. His son Robert Woodruff took over as president in 1923. Robert Woodruff was 33 years old. Robert Woodruff ran Coca-Cola for 6 decades. He never held the CEO title for most of that time but controlled everything. Woodruff was obsessed with one idea: put Coca-Cola within arm reach of desire everywhere on Earth. He meant it literally. Under Woodruff, Coca-Cola pioneered vending machines. The first Coke machine appeared in 1929. By 1950, over 60,000 machines operated across America. Woodruff pushed bottlers to place Coca-Cola in grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, offices, and factories. He wanted Coca-Cola available anywhere people gathered. He built coolers and gave them free to retailers who agreed to stock Coca-Cola. The iconic red coolers with white script appeared in millions of locations. Availability drove habit. The easier Coca-Cola was to buy, the more often people bought it. This sounds obvious now. In 1930, it was revolutionary. Most consumer brands sold through limited channels. Woodruff turned the entire country into a Coca-Cola distribution network. Then the Great Depression hit. Coca-Cola sales dropped 20% between 1929 and 1933. But Woodruff refused to cut prices. A Coke cost 5 cents since 1886. He kept it at 5 cents through the Depression. Instead of lowering prices, Woodruff increased advertising. He told Americans that Coca-Cola was an affordable luxury during hard times. The messaging worked. By 1936, sales recovered completely. Coca-Cola Depression strategy revealed Woodruff's core belief. Brand value mattered more than short-term profit. Lowering prices would have helped immediate sales but damaged long-term brand perception. Keeping prices. When America entered the war in December 1941, Woodruff made a promise. Every American soldier would get a Coke for 5 cents no matter where in the world they served or what it cost the company. This was brilliant strategy disguised as patriotism. The military agreed to ship Coca-Cola concentrate to war zones. Coca-Cola sent technical observers, really employees, to build bottling plants near combat zones. The company built 64 bottling plants on military bases across Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. American soldiers drank 5 billion bottles of Coca-Cola during the war. They drank it in foxholes, on ships, in field hospitals, and at base camps. Coca-Cola became synonymous with American victory. The emotional connection was permanent. Soldiers returned home loyal Coca-Cola drinkers. But World War II did something more important. It introduced Coca-Cola to the world. Before the war, Coca-Cola sold primarily in America. Foreign sales were minimal. The war changed that. Locals in Italy, France, Germany, the Philippines, and Japan tasted Coca-Cola from American soldiers. They wanted more. When the war ended, Coca-Cola's 64 military bottling plants remained overseas. Local bottlers bought them. Coca-Cola converted military infrastructure into global commercial distribution. By 1950, Coca-Cola operated in over 70 countries. Woodruff's goal of arm reach everywhere was becoming reality. The company exported more than a product. It exported American culture. Drinking Coca-Cola meant participating in American success, freedom, and modernity. This was soft power in liquid form. Government sometimes resisted. France tried to ban Coca-Cola in 1950, claiming it threatened French culture. The ban failed. People wanted Coke more than politicians wanted to stop it. Back in America, Coca-Cola faced a new challenge. Competition. Pepsi-Cola had existed since 1898 but remained small. In the 1930s, Pepsi nearly went bankrupt. New management saved it with a radical idea. Sell 12-ounce bottles for 5 cents, the same price as Coca-Cola 6.5-ounce bottles. Double the size for the same price. Pepsi ad jingle became famous. Pepsi-Cola hits the spot, 12 full ounces that a lot, twice as much for a nickel too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you. Depression-era customers loved it. Pepsi grew rapidly. By 1950, Pepsi had captured 15% market share. Coca-Cola controlled 60%. The battle lines were drawn. Coca-Cola responded with massive advertising. They avoided mentioning Pepsi by name. Instead, they emphasized Coca-Cola authenticity, heritage, and status as the original cola. Their 1950 slogan was simple: the pause that refreshes. Coca-Cola didn't compete on price or size. They competed on feeling. The 1950s brought another revolution. Television. Woodruff understood TV power immediately. Coca-Cola became one of TV's earliest major advertisers. They sponsored popular shows. They created memorable commercials. The goal wasn't just product awareness. It was emotional connection. Coca-Cola ads showed families together, teenagers at soda fountains, couples on dates. Coke was present at life-happy moments. This advertising strategy became Coca-Cola's enduring playbook. Sell the feeling, not the drink. By 1960, Coca-Cola spent $50 million annually on advertising, more than any other consumer brand. The investment worked. Market share hit 65%. Coca-Cola wasn't just a cola. It was a cultural institution. Songs referenced it. Movies showed it. Politicians drank it publicly. Coca-Cola was America in a bottle. But cracks appeared in the 1960s. Consumer tastes shifted. People wanted variety. Coca-Cola sold only one product. Competitors launched new flavors. Pepsi introduced Diet Pepsi in 1964. Tab, Coca-Cola Diet Entry, launched in 1963 but struggled. Coca-Cola culture resisted change. The formula was sacred. The brand was untouchable. Innovation felt risky. This created opportunity for rivals. Woodruff was aging. He remained chairman, but new executives managed daily operations. J. Paul Austin became CEO in 1962. Austin was more aggressive than Woodruff. He pushed international expansion hard. He acquired Minute Maid orange juice in 1960. He diversified beyond cola. He bought coffee and tea brands. He launched Sprite, a lemon-lime soda, in 1961. Sprite competed against 7-Up. By 1970, Sprite was the third most popular soft drink in America. Austin also pushed Coca-Cola deeper into developing countries. The strategy was simple. Build bottling plants, hire local workers, use local ingredients where possible, and sell at affordable prices. Coca-Cola entered Africa aggressively in the 1960s. They built plants in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. They entered India in 1956, then pulled out in 1977 due to government regulations demanding they share the secret formula. They returned in 1993 when regulations changed. They entered China in 1979 as the country opened to Western business. China became Coca-Cola's third largest market within 30 years. The international expansion strategy worked because Coca-Cola adapted locally while maintaining brand consistency. Bottle sizes changed by country. Prices varied. Distribution channels differed. But the red logo, the formula, and the brand promise remained identical everywhere. A Coke in Cairo tasted like a Coke in Chicago. The 1970s brought crisis. Competition intensified. Pepsi launched the Pepsi Challenge in 1975. Blind taste tests showed people preferred Pepsi's sweeter taste. Pepsi ran TV ads showing these results. Coca-Cola market share dropped to under 50% by 1983. Panic set in at Coca-Cola headquarters. Roberto Guizwaiter became CEO in 1981. He was Cuban-born, an engineer by training, and the first non-American to lead Coca-Cola. Guizwaiter faced enormous pressure. Pepsi was gaining. Store brand colas were growing. Health-conscious consumers were avoiding sugar. Diet Coke launched in 1982. It succeeded immediately, becoming the third most popular soft drink within 2 years. But the core Coca-Cola brand was struggling. Executives debated endlessly. Should they change the 99-year-old formula? April 23, 1985. Coca-Cola holds a press conference in New York City. Guizwaiter announces they're launching new Coke. The formula has changed. It's sweeter, more like Pepsi. The old formula is discontinued. The decision came after 4 years of secret research and taste tests involving 200,000 people. Results showed people preferred the new sweeter formula. Coca-Cola invested $4 million developing it. They were certain it would win back market share from Pepsi. The reaction was instant fury. Customers were outraged. They felt betrayed. Coca-Cola received over 40,000 angry letters and phone calls. Protest groups formed. Some people hoarded old Coke before it disappeared from shelves. The anger wasn't rational. It was emotional. Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink. It was memory, tradition, identity. Changing it felt like changing America itself. Within 3 months, Coca-Cola admitted defeat. On July 11, 1985, they announced the return of the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke remained available but was quietly phased out within years. The disaster became a triumph. The media coverage was enormous. People who hadn't thought about Coca-Cola in years suddenly cared deeply. Sales of Coca-Cola Classic surged. Market share recovered. Conspiracy theories emerged claiming Coca-Cola planned the whole thing as a publicity stunt. They didn't. It was a genuine failure that accidentally reinforced customer loyalty. The lesson was clear. Coca-Cola value wasn't the formula taste. It was the emotional connection people felt to the brand. They built plants across Eastern Europe. The same when China opened further. when India allowed them back. Everywhere communism retreated, Coca-Cola advanced. By 2000, Coca-Cola operated in over 200 countries, more than the United Nations had member states. Only North Korea and Cuba remained completely closed to them. Guizwaiter also transformed Coca-Cola relationship with bottlers. Historically, bottlers were independent franchisees. Coca-Cola sold them syrup but couldn't control their operations. In 1986, Guizwaiter created Coca-Cola Enterprises, buying up many independent bottlers. This gave Coca-Cola direct control over production and distribution. They could ensure quality, coordinate marketing, and extract more profit from the supply chain. Some independent bottlers remained, especially internationally, but Coca-Cola tightened control everywhere possible. This vertical integration let Coca-Cola respond faster to market changes. When new competitors emerged, Coca-Cola could adjust distribution immediately. When consumer preferences shifted, they could reformulate or launch new products quickly. The tighter system made Coca-Cola more agile despite being a giant corporation. But problems were brewing. Health concerns about sugar and obesity grew through the 2000s. Doctors linked soda consumption to diabetes, heart disease, and weight gain. Governments considered soda taxes. Schools banned soda machines. Coca-Cola core product was under attack. Sales in America began declining in 2006 for the first time in decades. The company responded with diversification. They acquired water brands like Dasani. They bought juice companies, tea brands, coffee chains, and sports drink makers. They launched Coca-Cola Zero in 2005, a zero-calorie cola that tasted more like regular Coke than Diet Coke. They pushed smaller portion sizes like mini cans. They reformulated products to reduce sugar. The message was clear. Coca-Cola was a beverage company, not just a cola company. They sold hydration and refreshment in whatever form customers wanted. Leadership changed frequently after Guizwaiter. Douglas Duff became CEO in 2000. He lasted for years. Neville Isdell took over in 2004, retired in 2008. Muta Kent led from 2008 to 2017. James Quincy became CEO in 2017 and remains in charge today. Each leader faced the same challenge: maintain Coca-Cola dominance while navigating health trends, environmental concerns, and changing consumer preferences. The strategy evolved toward premiumization. Coca-Cola couldn't compete on price with store brands. Instead, they emphasized quality, brand heritage, and emotional connection. They raised prices steadily. They launched premium products like Coca-Cola Life with cane sugar and Coca-Cola Plus with added fiber. They marketed Coca-Cola as a treat, not an everyday drink. Environmental criticism intensified in the 2010s. Plastic bottles became villains. Coca-Cola produced more plastic packaging than any company on Earth. Environmental groups targeted them. Coca-Cola responded with sustainability commitments. They pledged to recycle as many bottles as they sold by 2030. They invested in recycling infrastructure globally. They developed plant-based plastic bottles. They pushed refillable glass bottles in developing countries. Critics said it wasn't enough. Coca-Cola business model depends on single-use packaging. True sustainability would require fundamental change. The company walks a tightrope between environmental responsibility and profitability. They make incremental progress while defending their core business model. Today, Coca-Cola sells over 500 brands in over 200 countries. They employ 700,000 people worldwide when you count bottlers. Annual revenue exceeds $40 billion. The Coca-Cola Company itself, not including bottlers, earns about $10 billion annually in profit. The brand is valued at over $90 billion, making it one of the world's most valuable brands consistently. But the business faces existential questions. Will consumers abandon sugary drinks entirely? Can Coca-Cola maintain premium pricing as competitors multiply? Will governments tax or regulate soda out of existence? Can they achieve true environmental sustainability, These questions have no clear answers. Coca-Cola bets on brand strength. They believe emotional connection transcends health trends, environmental concerns, and economic pressures. What made Coca-Cola different? 3 things. First, they built a distribution system unmatched in human history. Coca-Cola products are available in more locations than any other consumer product. They're in cities, villages, remote islands, and mountaintops. This availability creates habit. When you're thirsty, Coke is there. Second, they mastered emotional marketing before anyone understood it. Coca-Cola doesn't sell taste. They sell happiness, togetherness, celebration, and nostalgia. Every ad, every campaign, every sponsorship reinforces feeling. Third, they protected brand identity fiercely. The script logo hasn't changed meaningfully in 139 years. The contour bottle is nearly universal. The red color is trademarked. This consistency creates trust and recognition that transcends language and culture. You see that red script anywhere on Earth, you know what it means. The lessons from Coca-Cola are clear. Distribution matters more than product quality. Being everywhere beats being better. Emotional connection beats rational benefits. People choose brands that make them feel something, not brands with superior ingredients. Consistency over decades builds trust that can't be bought. Coca-Cola logo, bottle, and formula remain stable while the world transformed around them. Adapt without abandoning identity. Coca-Cola launched hundreds of products but never changed classic Coke again after 1985. Pricing power comes from brand strength. Coca-Cola charges premium prices because customers believe it worth it. That belief comes from 139 years of consistent brand building. And finally, think in generations, not quarters. Coca-Cola made decisions that hurt short-term profits but built long-term value. Keeping prices stable during the Depression. Following soldiers to war. Building plants in developing countries decades before they became profitable. These decisions created the empire. Coca-Cola's future is uncertain. Will they exist in 50 years? Probably. Will they dominate like they did in the 20th century? Maybe not. Consumer preferences are fragmenting. Health consciousness is rising. Environmental pressure is intensifying. New competitors emerge constantly. But Coca-Cola has survived before. They survived Prohibition, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, the New Coke disaster, the rise of Pepsi, health scares, and countless competitors. They survived because they adapt while preserving what matters. The formula stays the same. The logo stays the same. The bottle stays recognizable. But everything else evolves. Products, marketing, distribution, and leadership all change with the times. This balance between consistency and flexibility is Coca-Cola's true secret formula. Not the syrup recipe locked in a vault, but the organizational ability to honor tradition while embracing change. That what built an empire from a backyard kettle. That what turned carbonated sugar water into a global icon. That Coca-Cola.